What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? You're listening to 102.9 The Game, Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Lastella Report here closing you out on this fine Monday evening. Robbie Lastella aboard with you along with my friends Toby, Christian, and Drew. Here tonight, got a lot to talk about. Guys, how we doing on this fine Monday evening?
We're good, Robbie. Not so good looking at this heat score, but other than that, can't really complain.
It is a great night. As I like to say, it's always a great night when we're on the Lastella Report. Happy to be back after what felt like a very long weekend following the big Lastella Report episode on draft night. So, very, very excited to get back to it.
It was a good weekend. I'm happy to be back in Florida on the cam with y'all boys. Unfortunately, I was condensed to just a phone call last week. So no, it's good to be back, Robbie. Thank you for inviting me as always.
Bad internet following Christian up to Detroit. But yeah, it was a good weekend for my boy CP as he was up at the draft. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Going on tonight, as Toby said, though, Heat Celtics not looking so good. C's up 62-41, 6:31 to play in the third quarter. Thunder versus Pelicans. Thunder up 21-19, 1:37 to go in the first quarter. Later on tonight, Lakers, Nuggets. Nuggets looking to close out. Lakers looking to keep on keeping on. We'll get into all these NBA series also later in the evening, but it's not looking too good for our Miami Heat. They're currently the plus 20.5 if you wanted to live bet them. If you think they can come back, bet them while they're hot, plus 17.50. They're not even letting you bet on the Celtics to win. That's how favored they are right now. All lines by Hard Rock Bet. Bet responsibly. But this weekend we were not watching the NBA. We should have been. I was watching the Heat a little bit. I watched them lose on Saturday. But Christian was busy. Christian was running a showcase for all of the talent, football talent in Palm Beach County. Second year in a row that this has been done. I'll let Christian talk all about it, setting the 561 kids up for some success.
Yeah, no, Robbie, you hit it on the head. For the second year in a row, myself and some of the local coaches in Palm Beach County hosted the New Era Prep 561 showcase. It was a combine style event where we brought out the best of the best in Palm Beach County with so many stars. The night sky is shining and so many offers that it's a lot of free college. So it was an amazing event, being able to put on. There was almost 100 kids in attendance throughout the day. And yeah, no, pretty much what we did is we styled it with my experience at the NFL Combine. We was like, all right, what did we like from there? It was as if it was a rivals camp, an Under Armour camp, or the NFL Combine. We were we were fortunate enough to have, like I said, almost 100 participants throughout. Um, Pretty much every school in Palm Beach County had at least one representative there. We had a lot of local media. ESPN, our friends at ESPN West Palm came out. All of my friends on the New Era Prep team came out. A bunch of other independent content creators, FAU 24/7, University of Miami 24/7. We had Muck
Is that
City.
the same person?
What's up?
Is that the same person?
It is the one and only Luke Cheney. And yeah, no, it is the exact same guy, but I was going to let that one slide, Robbie. Looked like we had more depth, but got to shoot me down. And then yeah, we had multiple college coaches in attendance. Our friends out at Kaiser, the NAIA National Champions 2023, their whole new coaching staff was in attendance, being able to speak with our kids, helping run drills, stuff like that. It was an amazing experience. It ran so smoothly. I'm very happy with how it turned out. And yeah, Steven's gonna play some of the clips. We
We
had,
got
we had high level talent, and they rose to the occasion. It was an amazing opportunity, and I'm blessed to be able to give back to my community.
in clip one.
Hey, yo, Ted.
Who was that?
That is Santa Lucia's wide receiver Anante Smith, class of 2025, who does hold an FAU offer.
Who we got here?
That is Palm Beach Central wide receiver Waden Charles, Miami commit 4-star, one of the top recruits in the nation.
I saw your interview with him. He seems very locked into Miami. Nowhere changing for him.
Nope, he is like the interview said. He is 100% locked in on the Canes. He believes in Coach Cristobal. He believes in the future of this team, and he's excited to be down in Coral Gables. That is Santa Lucia's wide receiver Israel Marion, class of 25. He holds a couple D1 offers, with his best one being UMass. He is currently undecided, but narrowing it down. Owls fans, I know you heard the name. That is our one and only Damon Allen, FAU commit. Yeah, he was playing physical. Like I said, he loves that press man. He was bullying kids this weekend.
Was it holding? I heard him chirping in the
No,
background.
it was a 5-yard out, or a 5-yard in. Sorry. By the time the receiver was breaking the route, he was still within 5 yards. So me personally, I do not believe it was PI. That is Damon's West Boca teammate, Xavier Reed. He is a 5'10" D tackle, with his best offers including that school in Ybor City that we don't speak about, and Liberty. And that is William T. Dwyer, center Cam Moore, class of 25. I do not believe he holds any offers, but he's one of the best centers in Palm Beach.
So why do you think? I forgot the pass rusher who had the offer from USF. Why is he only holding? What's his name, and why does he only hold an offer from USF?
His name is Xavier Reed. He is a class of 26, so he is a true sophomore. He has a lot of time. He broke out on the scene this year. He was a finalist for the New Era Prep Defensive Player of the Year, and also garnered first team All County by Palm Beach Post and Sun Sentinel. The biggest, first off, I'll talk about his positives. He is, as you saw, he's quick off the line. He has fast hands, and his best move is his bull, because he is so strong. He just bullies O linemen, and as you saw, he literally threw that 300. That kid was 300 pounds. He threw him onto the ground. It was me throwing you onto the ground, Robbie, tiny boy. But the reason that he he hasn't garnered a lot of offers is because, like I said, he's 5'10". He's a little undersized for the tackle, which is going to be a big knock on him. However, he is an Aaron Donald-esque player. Whoever is lucky to lock him down is getting a diamond in the rough that a lot of schools are going to overlook. I'm hoping it's FAU. I have been talking with FAU's recruiting staff about him for a very long time now.
So yeah, that's what I was seeing. I was seeing USF is in there while it's early, and that's how. But that's how you get kids, right? You be their first offer, you get in before anybody else, and you develop that relationship. Props to USF. The kid seems like he's a real baller. Hopefully, FAU can get in there and make a play. But so, what's the long term goal looking like? I'm assuming you guys are already going to run this back next year. But is it something you see expanding, or is it just going to be the best showcase in Palm Beach County?
Yeah, no. I think that being able to expand it is the goal. Obviously, with Palm Beach County being the forefront of it, we're looking to expand it. We're looking to expand it into the summer with a New Era Prep 7-on-7. So that's a little premature, but stay tuned for that, because details will be coming soon. We are looking to host a 7-on-7. Obviously, expanding it would be amazing throughout the the Quad County area, actually, being able to have representatives from the Treasure Coast and Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade would be huge. And hell, if somebody from out of state wants to come out, because we are hosting this as if, like I said, it is a rivals camp. It is as if it is a Under Armour camp, where we want kids to be excited about being here. We brought the best out, whether it was coaches, whether it was kids, whether it was people with the camera. The best of the best were out there, and it showed. Hashtag 561 showcase was a trending hashtag on Twitter on Saturday. So that just speaks to the level of what we were able to do. And I would just like to give, once again, a big shout out to Coach Gad Jacobs from the St. Andrews School for walking through this process with me and setting up the showcase. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody else on my New Era Prep staff for being able to come out, to all of the kids for trusting us and wanting to go out there and ball, to all of the coaches who volunteered the time on a Saturday morning and early afternoon. Thank you for coming out. For all media, same thing. It is a Saturday morning / early afternoon. There was districts, there was regionals for other sports. Thank you for choosing to come to our event. And the biggest shout out that needs no more introduction is thank you, parents. Parents, thank you for trusting us with your kids. Thank you for all of the early mornings and the late nights driving your kid to practice, games, showcases. You are loved. You are appreciated. You do not get as much credit as you deserve, but thank you for everything you do.
Huge shout out to parents. Where would they be without their parents? Isn't that right, Christian? Well, we'll have to keep an eye. What?
They wouldn't be alive without their parents, Robbie. That is just simple biology.
Yeah, there you go, Christian. Thanks for summing it out for me there. Reminds me of the NFL draft where the lady was like, I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But we'll get into the NFL draft in just a second. But Christian, we'll have to keep that up. We'll have to get Bleacher Brothers out there covering the 7-on-7 over the summer if that indeed develops. But a lot of 5-6-1 talent headed to college, headed to the pros. This weekend was the NFL draft, as we just mentioned. In the beginning, early first round, the first couple picks went by. Everyone was like, okay, it's how it was going. Caleb 1, Jaden 2, Drake 3, Marvin 4. And then, it got down to Michael Penix going to the Falcons. And then it was like, what is going on? Obviously, they signed Kirk Cousins, 36-year-old Kirk Cousins, the Falcons did, to a 4-year, $180 million deal over until he's 40. So he'd be 40 once the end of that contract turns out. $100 million guaranteed. They go out, they draft the 23-year-old Michael Penix. On the surface, horrible. Why are you wasting money on a slot level first round quarterback when you have Kirk Cousins? But it's I am a fan of the pick. Here's why. For starters, their GM Terry Fontenot was in the Saints front office when the Saints had a chance to get Patrick Mahomes at 11, and the Chiefs obviously traded up. They went and grabbed him. He saw that, right? The Saints, they're in QB purgatory still now, depending on how you view Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler. But the last place you want to be is QB purgatory. And with a QB like Cousins, there's nothing guaranteed, right? Even, he was successful last year before the injury, top of the line stats, and then he went down. So now he's coming back off an injury. But when has he ever really done anything postseason success-wise? I think the farthest the Vikings went was the NFC Championship. Even did they get that far? Yeah, they did.
Case Keenum as the quarterback, not even with Kirk Cousins.
So there you go. So exactly. So they didn't even. So it's like there's nothing guaranteed here with Kirk Cousins. Give them the money, right? If they have the money, if they're not giving the money out, if they don't got it, sure, things will be a little tighter. But they've got Drake London, they got Pitts, and it's like they got Brian Robinson in the backfield, or Bijan Robinson, and so it's like there's some talent there outside of the quarterback position. So it's like Michael Penix can come in if Kirk sucks, and then they have their guy, and this guy and Michael Penix has been. There's a reason why he was so talented at the college level. The age is a little bit of an issue when you look at the pro style. Like the pros, they want them to be a year or two younger. Doesn't really matter. I think Penix comes in polished, and I think if Kirk Cousins struggles in year one, I think you can go to him right away in year two. Yeah, you lose a little bit of money. Yeah, you look stupid, but at least you have a backup option. At least you're not stuck with an aging Kirk Cousins who there is no guarantees with anything with Kirk Cousins. So yes, they could have potentially went out and gotten a quarterback later on, or not gotten a quarterback at all. But I think it's the right move from the sense that there's nothing guaranteed with Kirk Cousins. Guys, your thoughts on Michael Penix? Any other draft thoughts here? We'll keep going, but Michael Penix was the first one that obviously when you're looking at the list, it's like, okay, what's going on here?
That was definitely the first one that, I remember watching it with Drew. I mean, we were just both in total shock about the pick. I mean, I don't think anybody really would have seriously expected Penix to have gone that high in the draft. But I agree with what you said, Robbie. I don't necessarily hate the pick. I don't love it. I don't love using a 8th overall pick when they could have gone out and gotten the first defensive player off of the board. I mean, they had literally every defensive player on the board for them to take. So I don't really. I mean, I just don't really get it. The pick. I mean, what you said about QB purgatory, being a Jets fan, I obviously 100% agree with that. That's the worst place to be. And I think Penix, coming in older isn't necessarily going to be a challenge for him compared to someone who's maybe younger, because like you said, he'll be more polished and, he'll be more mature, and hopefully that, helps his decision making. And I mean, hopefully he won't have to play for the Falcons, but if he does, I mean, I guess that's a pick well spent. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought about it, but I don't hate it.
I have a lot of thoughts on that. I mean, it seems like a very 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of move for me. You trade for not Caleb. You trade for Kirk Cousins. My apologies. I don't know where Caleb came from, but you trade for Kirk Cousins. You feel like, use that 8th overall pick on Laiatu Latu. Use that 8th overall pick on Byron Murphy. Use that 8th overall pick on Quinyon Mitchell, on Terry and Arnold. Like, you had the chance at the top overall defensive player on the board, and you take a guy that's not going to touch the field unless, God forbid for them, Kirk gets injured. It's weird for me. But the funny thing when we're talking about the Falcons is I think maybe the not the worst pick happened to the next pick for them. They traded up in the second round for Clemson defensive tackle Rook Orororo, but Jerzon Johnny Newton was on the board. Many people consider him the second defensive tackle, a true first-round talent, maybe even the first defensive tackle. Some people had him. And they trade up to get, maybe a guy that's going to go at the end of the second round, maybe as D tackle 4. It's super sketchy stuff from them, in my opinion. And I don't know. I don't think they maximized what they could have done, is my opinion.
I wasn't even. I should have had that clip prepared for the second round pick. I'm not even going to try to butcher that last name. But his phone call with Arthur Blank. Go look that up if you're on Twitter, because it was definitely something, and it definitely made me question, why is this guy a second round pick? Christian, thoughts on Michael Penix?
When I was sitting in the media room and it broke, because the media room, it breaks a little bit earlier than what you see on TV. There, if you're looking at Twitter, there's a certain guy that's like filling you in. So the dude sitting next to me is like, "Yo, they're taking Penix here," and I'm like, "Get the hell out of here! You're lying." He's like, "No." So I film it. Like, I film the reaction of the room. If you look on my Twitter, every person in there, a consensus WTF is going on with the Falcons. Because like Drew said, no matter which way you slice it, it is a waste of money by the Falcons. Because A, Kirk Cousins plays all 4 years of his contract. And Michael Penix is pushing, he'd be like, what, 28 when his rookie contract ends, which that's insane. So it's either you're wasting first rounder money or Kirk Cousins absolutely blows. You need Michael Penix to step in, and you've just wasted $180 million on a dude that's absolutely buns. So that's a double-edged sword that they're playing with. And yeah, like you said, Big Kirko, who stayed dripping, is coming off of the ACL injury. That is, especially with a dude that is on the wrong side of 30, that is not something that you can come back from right away. Obviously, I hold the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Do I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be insane this year? Probably not. Somebody's going to clip this, and that's going to be on Old Takes Exposed in like 6 months. But I don't think any of these guys that are pushing 40 that are coming off of big injuries are going to be at the same level that they were, because the human body doesn't heal as well when you're 40 years old as opposed to when you're 23, 24. However, I have to make this one obligatory joke. Dogs in Atlanta, beware. There is a left-handed quarterback named Mike in your city again. We know what happened last time.
I think this is the clip from your Twitter, is it?
That is.
Roll it, Stevens.
With the 8th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was the guy that got excited? Where was security to escort him out of there? There is no cheering in the press box. We are capital J journalists here on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. If you cheer, you get shot out of the press box. No questions asked. No, but yeah, I agree with you, Christian. It looked everyone except that guy was definitely a little confused over there.
It was probably Michael's cousin. I don't know why he wasn't at the draft party, but it was probably his cousin or something. Also, there is a reason that Michael Penix wears a do-rag, because, oh my God, that dude's cranium is insane. It's massive. If they pull up like the feed of when they were at his house, that dude's forehead was insane. Like, dude, put the do-rag back on, please.
Chill, bro.
Christian, he's gonna roast. If Michael Penix, feel free to
Someone clip that.
comment, flame Christian up, his haircut, whatever you want to say. Flame him up for us here. We're talking NFL draft on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. We're talking about the Falcons and their bad draft, but I like the Chargers draft 1, 2, and 3. First round, Joe Alt, 13 pressures and 700 snaps. Lad McConkey, he had 600 snaps on the outside at Georgia, and he can go right in and play the slot. So he has 600 snaps on the outside, and he can just walk right in and play the slot at the NFL level, which I think is huge. And then in the third round, they go and get Junior Colson, who only missed 4.7% of tackles across his college career. Obviously, Junior Colson, the linebacker, Harbaugh was his coach at Michigan, so there's the connection there. He fell down the boards a little bit, but I think with Harbaugh, it's a really good fit. I see him being a really productive linebacker over the middle for the Chargers. 1, 2, and 3 A+ picks for the Chargers. They're my biggest winners for sure. Biggest losers stays in that same division. The Raiders, they get the big fat L for me. How do they not trade up for a quarterback in the first round or draft any quarterback at all whatsoever? 0 quarterbacks is crazy. You got Uncle Rico, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden McConnell out there at quarterback. I don't know what's going on in Las Vegas. Nothing productive. You guys got winners and losers. Anyone jump out to you as hitting a home run here?
A couple teams, they stand out to me, Robbie. I agree with the Raiders because I don't know if you remember, I said I wanted the Raiders to trade up for Jaden Daniels, and they didn't do that, which I said it was a shot in the dark. I mean, obviously going from 13 to 2 is a huge jump, but I mean, them and the Bills to me were the biggest losers, and I don't hate that the Bills got Keon Coleman at all instead of getting Xavier Worthy, but I just don't see why on earth, besides just maybe like an attractive trade package, you're letting the Chiefs trade up for a receiver that Mahomes really, really wants. I don't find that a win at all in the long run, at least. I think Keon Coleman will be a great receiver, but I don't love, basically just handing something to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Keon Coleman, he's gonna have to try to fill Stephon Diggs' shoes there, and that's some pretty big shoes to fill. I know the routes will probably be similar, and the targets won't be the same, but I imagine Stephon Diggs, Keon Coleman will both be playing on the outside there. So we'll see how that works out. Obviously, not Stephon Diggs, but he's still very very talented. Any losers or any winners, Toby?
I thought the Commanders. I thought they drafted really, really well. I love them picking up Mike Sanders still. I believe they drafted Newton, right?
They did, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean that they drafted great. I thought they picked up some really great pieces. Saban said Sanders still pound for pound might be the best football player in that draft. And watching Michigan this entire year, I mean, it's hard to argue that. I mean, obviously he's not the best football player in the draft, but he's a great defensive back, and I think they touched on a lot of needs that they definitely had to overcome.
If I had to give a winner, one team that just sticks off the top of my mind is the Panthers. Their whole thing was, hey, you know, last year was a complete mess. We drafted Bryce Young, we threw him into the fire right away, and it was ugly. And it was not just Bryce Young; it was the protection. It was the separation from the receivers. It was the run game. You know what they do this whole offseason? They get him protection. They bring in guys like Robert Hunt. They pay him handsomely. They trade up into the first round. They trade up a pick so they can get that fifth-year option if he ends up working out. But it's only one pick. It didn't cost a whole lot. They drafted Xavier Legette from South Carolina. They get Jatavion Sanders on day 3, who is considered tight end 2 to everyone. They get most people's running back 1, Jonathan Brooks. I just think right there's you got a running back because Miles Sanders didn't have the best year. Now you got actual receivers because they bring in Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette, so they don't only have to rely on Adam Thielen. And now they have a tight end too, while bringing in protection during free agency. I just think it was a great offseason for the Panthers in general, and I think I really trust their head coach because he did a great job in Tampa Bay. If I had to go losers, shoot. As much as I like Ricky Pearsall, I don't think the 49ers outside of that did a great job. In the middle of the draft, I think they did a decent job getting guys I liked, like Isaac Guerrero, Malik Mustafa. Um, I don't shoot. The Cowboys too, I think, didn't really come away with their biggest need was a true number one running back. I like Tyler Guyton. I don't love him. I think they maybe even could have traded back one more time if they wanted to get him. I'll go with the Cowboys, I guess, as a loser. And maybe it's a theme of mine, but I kind of think both those teams, the Panthers won the offseason and the Cowboys lost the offseason. So not just the draft in general.
Another team that I thought you may have mentioned before as a possible loser, the Patriots. They could have gotten J.J. McCarthy in the first round. They draft Joe Milton later on, who is, in my opinion, a little better passer than J.J. McCarthy, but still kind of similar what they're going to try to get out of him in that Patriot system. So I just don't I don't know what's going on in New England in terms of quarterback play, but. We'll see. We'll see how that works out for him. Hopefully, they don't have to go on and use Joe Milton if Drake May doesn't work out. Christian, any winners losers?
First off, I was about to say, like, am I tripping or did New England take Drake May, not JJ?
Well, I was saying they should have.
Yeah. Both of them are ass. If I had to give my biggest winner, I would say is the Eagles. The Eagles secondary got torn apart throughout the offseason. So what do? Round 1, you take the only G5 player selected in the first round, Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo, who, like I said multiple times, is my best defensive player in the class. Then, second round, you get the high motor, a lot of grit, locker room stud, Cooper DeJean. He's not a safety. He's a corner. So I think having cookies and cream coming into Philly will be huge. My other winner, I liked Miami's draft. I thought Chop Robinson, I was high on him since the combine. Paul, Patrick Paul, the lineman from Houston. I loved his tape. At first, I wasn't familiar with who he was. Then I sat down and watched his film. I loved what I saw out of him. They got on Taj Washington and Washington from UVA, Malik Washington. And I thought they were both underrated receivers. And then Muhammad Kamara from Colorado State coming off of the edge, I thought was another good pickup. Uh, the Rams had a solid draft, getting Gerard Verse and Braden Fisk from FSU, and then Blake
Two for
Corum.
one, trying to replace Aaron Donald there. Both of those
Yeah.
guys will try to replace his production.
And then I liked the Jets first four or five rounds, which pains me to say as a Dolphins fan,
Yeah.
because Olu Fanshu is a very good lineman.
Fashionu.
Then you get who I consider my steal of the draft is Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky. I loved watching him. And then they went Braylon Allen, the youngest running back in the class from Wisconsin. I loved what I saw out of him. He's literally the same age as me. And he's getting NFL money. Congratulations, bro. Hats off to you. And then my QB3, everybody's cooking me about it. Jordan Travis, Palm Beach County alum. Jordan, I'm happy for you, bro. You're since WCFL, man. We've known each other since we were like 8 years old, man. I'm happy for you. I thought that this was a great pickup for the Jets in a very respectfully injury-prone QB room. And then I said it before the draft. Get Jordan Travis somewhere with a good offense and watch him grow. He's going to come in the next couple of years, and he is going to be a stud because I do not believe that Tyrod will be the long-term backup QB because somebody will puncture his lungs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think if Jordan Travis gets to learn behind Aaron Rodgers, he's got Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley. He's got a great running back room, and then they've got another receiver. And CJ Uzama, I believe, is still out there. And then a solid O-line. I think
Jets looking good.
I'm terrified of the Jets. For the first time in 20 years as a Dolphins fan, I said that. And I'm terrified of what they will do because I know that Jordan Travis is a dog.
Yep. So the Jets drafted 6 impact players, 4 day one potential starters, in my opinion. Jalen Key in round 7 is a guy who's a steal for me for the Jets. Love the Jets draft, and as a Giants fan, I'm saying the same thing. And the Giants, they draft Tyler Nubin in the second round out of Minnesota. Great safety, probably one of the better ones in the draft, sure. But you wouldn't have had to replace him if you paid Julian Love or Xavier McKinney. So it's a circle of suck for the Giants here. I just at some point, what are you doing? Like, come on, we had 2 really good safeties in Julian Love and Xavier McKinney, and in the second round, we go and get the best safety in the draft. But what's going to happen in 4 years? Are we gonna let him go too, and then we'll go get I don't know, maybe Cormani McClain will be the best draft in the safety in 3 years, or cornerback, whatever. That's a long shot, but I'm just thinking of guys will be around in a couple of years. But the circle of suck with the Giants is just, man, I don't know. Especially with the DBs, absolute shambles. I hope Tyler Nubin works out, and I hope they actually sign him to an extension. Invest some money into players who are productive for you, please, Joe Shane.
But Rob,
yeah,
I have a question for you. What if that safety in a few years is FAU future legend CJ Hurd?
Or Mike.
Like, there you go. Like, in 4 years, like, the Giants will be so down bad at that point. You know what? Like, they'll probably be picking high up. So, you know what? If they don't get him in the first round, they get him in the first round, pick in the second. Oh, gosh. If this year is bad for the Giants, please just have it be bad enough that they can go out and get Shedeur Sanders next year, because I'm just tired of the circle of suck. I'm tired of it for the Giants. I'm not high. I was really high on the Eagles draft. They get 2 small school studs, Jalix Hunt and Quinion Mitchell. Not as high on the Cowboys draft. They get 2 offensive linemen. That's the Cowboys' specialty right there. And with the Commanders, I do like the pairing of Jaden Daniels and Luke McCaffrey, but in my opinion, the Giants had the worst draft in the division, maybe second worst if outside of the Cowboys. Eagles 1, Redskins 2, and then 3 and 4 with the Giants in the Cowboys. Commanders, by the way, I'm gonna keep getting canceled if I'm gonna call the Guardians by their old name and Washington by their old name. No harm, no foul though. Just throwing it back a little bit. We're blown by our 9:30 break here, so we'll keep going with the NFL draft because it seems like we got a lot to say. We got to highlight our FAU guys, but we're gonna take a quick break here on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network, and when we come back, we got NBA, NFL for you here on 102.9 The Game. Maybe no commercial, no 9:30 commercial. All right, well I guess
Let's just keep it going.
Yeah, we'll skip our commercial tonight. We'll stay right here with you, Christian. Did you have something to add there before we were about to go to commercial break?
Yeah. I'm surprised none of us talked about the Bears. I thought getting Caleb Williams, getting Rome, and both of them in top 10. I thought that was a solid pickup. I didn't really like the back end of the draft, but I'm surprised that they didn't get mentioned. Also, by the way, Robbie, you brought up a point about Keon Coleman running the same level of routes as Stephon Diggs.
Level? No. Same type? Yes.
Definitely not.
You don't think they're both going to be going up and trying to get deep balls? Because I feel like that's exactly what they're going to be doing.
The only thing that Keon Coleman is good at is a goal line fade, and I stand on that. His routes are lazy, and he is just not a good route runner. As somebody that has watched him run routes 2-3 times in person up close, I do not like how Keon Coleman plays. But partially, I do not believe that he fit in well in FSU's system. Like I said, honestly, he would be great in 7-on-7 where it's just goal line and in. I think that's his specialty, and it's just up top somebody with your natural athleticism. Like you will not see Keon Coleman be able to run the same level of routes that Stephon Diggs does, because I firmly believe Stephon Diggs has the best route tree in the league, and he's the best route runner in the league.
Well, there was the miscommunication. Didn't say he was going to run the same level of routes, but the same type. The Bills didn't draft him to be a slot receiver. They drafted him to take the place of Stephon Diggs. So whether the routes are as crisp, probably not, but they're going to at least try to get him involved in that offense out there the best they can. If worse comes to worse, he'll end up like Kelvin Benjamin. Which is probably the worst player comp you ever want to end up as, because now he's 300 pounds somewhere on a couch. But yeah, with the Bears, Caleb Williams, Rome, nothing too crazy. A 1-2 punch there. I like that. With the Steelers, I like the Steelers draft a little bit. They get Roman Wilson and they get Peyton Wilson. The Wilson steals. Roman fell a little bit. And Peyton really fell because Peyton Wilson was a first-round grade out of NC State, good coverage linebacker. But he was told in medical pre-draft stuff he has no ACL. The ACL left the chat. So whether or not that is a medical issue at the NFL level, they don't know. He dropped to the third round with a first-round grade because he has no ACL. Him combining with Roman Wilson, I think that's a Wilson steal for the Steelers there. That's two really productive guys that they didn't have to get in the first round.
And they got Russell Wilson, too.
Yeah, the three-way Wilson.
Pittsburgh Wilsons.
Did
anyone see Joe Alt's girlfriend during his pick? Because that just kind of freaked me out.
No, I didn't see it.
I felt like my soul was getting stared into the entire time.
She kind of looked like she was related to him, in a way.
Siblings are dating.
I couldn't tell if they were dating.
I took a quick Instagram search for us, but we couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Their draft party was in a log cabin. Would you expect nothing less?
That sounds kind of fun.
Did you guys see his Instagram bio before, supposedly he was, getting bullied on, Twitter? It was, fishing and football.
People love that. No, they wasn't getting bullied. People were loving that. They were like, that's exactly what we want in our offensive linemen.
Good,
which is
That's
You know, you don't want to, you don't want Mr. Hollywood at offensive line. You just need somebody who's going to push people around a little bit. So that's definitely what they're getting. That's what they're getting in Big Joe Alt for sure.
And
Uh,
Robbie, like you said, the Cowboys taking Cooper Beebe from Kansas State O lineman in the second round. Yeah, that's your future 20-year vet, your Zach Martin replacement. Like that dude's gonna be a perennial Pro Bowler because the only position that the Cowboys know how to develop is dang O lineman, and you get 1 to 2 good ones like on a 5-man rotation. So yeah, no, I think Cooper Beebe is going to be that future Hall of Fame like O lineman from the Cowboys that everybody talks about.
Yeah, and pairing him up with Tyler Guyton, but I just think that's the too much offensive line. If you're Dallas, I think they could have done a little bit better. Taking a look at the NFC North, though, I like I like the Bengals getting Chris Jenkins from Michigan. I think that's a steal of a pickup. He was
Yeah.
the captain of Michigan defense for 2 straight years. His dad was a 4-time NFL Pro Bowler. According to his NFL.com scout or whatever, he's got an elite character, so that's what a lot of GMs like, that shows. He was the captain of Michigan for 2 years. I think you get that type of guy in the later rounds, like the Bengals. I think we got him in the third or the fourth. I think that's a really solid pickup for them. And then looking at the Browns, Zach Zinter. He would have been probably a first-round guard also from Michigan if I think it was his fibia or tibia, one of those knee bone bad nasty injury for Zinter there towards the end of the season. But he played 2,514 offensive snaps in college and only allowed 3 sacks during that time, 1,141 pass blocking snaps. Very efficient from Zinter. If he recovers, I think him and Chris Jenkins, 2 big steals going to the NFC North, along with the Steelers, who got Peyton Wilson there and the other Wilson from NC State. So NFC North, great job drafting, in my opinion.
The Steelers have proven they don't really care about the medical hit. Not that they don't care, but they're willing to take a risk more than other teams are. You look at last year, Darnell Washington was falling a lot in the NFL draft. A lot of Dolphins fans wanted him in round 2 as early as pick. I think we had 50 something, maybe 55 is right. And he ended up going in the late, I think it was the 90s. So he fell probably an extra 45 picks than he was supposed to go because of how bad his medical was. And then they do the same thing this year with Peyton Wilson. They've kind of proven they're willing to take risks on these guys, especially in the mid rounds, despite that. But 2 picks, I have to throw these in that I feel like no one's really talking about. I love Blake Corum to the Rams. Oh my gosh, they've proven, Blake Corum's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, but who also isn't the biggest, strongest, fastest? Kyron Williams. And the Rams made Kyron Williams a all-pro type of player. He made the Pro Bowl last year and was one of the best running backs in the league. Another running back pick I love, and I'd hate to do it because it's my favorite team, but Jalen Wright, the Tennessee running back to the Dolphins. Another guy added to the track squad. He said he's ran as fast as a 4.36 during training, and he ran a 4.38 at the combine. He rushed for 6.2 yards per carry in that Tennessee offense last year. Man, he's just a super talented back. Kudos to Chris Greer they traded up in the 4th round before the running back dominoes started to fall, because after that, that's when Will Shipley, Isaac Arendo, Braylon Allen all went. So he anticipated the running back run. I think those are 2 home run hits for their football teams, and I think the Dolphins' running back room is a little loaded. They got Mostert, they got Achane, they had Jeff Wilson. I don't even think is bad, and I think it's a little disrespected. But Mostert's getting old, and Wright has some very, very fresh legs, and I think can be a great duo with Devon Achane for the next few years.
Yeah, and another team that I liked was the Houston Texans. They pair Kamari Lassiter now with Jeff Okudah, C.J. Henderson, Derek Stingley at corner, Cade Stover at tight end. That's 2 nice pickups to add to that whole squad they're building out there from that Deshaun Watson trade. That's really turned out to be just a real big winner if you're the Texans organization. So not too many NFL teams this year where I'm looking at their drafts and I'm like, oh man, that stinks. Except the Raiders, obviously. I don't understand how you look at Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell and not sign a quarterback, not draft a quarterback. It's mind-boggling. I don't understand it. You're in Las Vegas. It's the capital of entertainment, right? Go get somebody entertaining. Aiden McConnell, I guess Gardner Minshew's a little entertaining. He's got the hair and the whatever personality. Dude is not the like a good starting quarterback. He's above average at best. So at this point, I just do not know how the Raiders went without a quarterback. But yeah, that's my biggest loser. But we're winding down here on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Want to highlight our some FAU guys who got picked up undrafted. Evan Anderson, big E going to the 49ers. Our hometown Miami Dolphins picking up Jaquan Burton, wide receiver. Kobe Lewis headed to Seattle, played last year, 1 year at FAU as running back, and former FSU transfer, spent last couple of years at FAU, Chaz Neal, on the offensive line. So he is headed to my New York Giants, Big Blue. So that's four rumored guys signing some some after draft deals here. There may be some more. Hopefully, our guy JMO gets picked up. We're rooting for you. We know, the deals don't stop. They're going to keep going throughout training camp. But that's four guys out of Evan, Jaquan, Kobe, and Chaz. Who do you guys like? Who's making the most out of this opportunity?
Christian, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I was just waiting for somebody to start talking.
You
I
got
think I think all four of those guys have the opportunity to make the most out of that situation because all four of those dudes are just high character guys. They work their tails off. They've been doubted. They've been overlooked, and now that like that hasn't changed now that they've gotten to the pros, and it's now they're going to continue that body of work getting into the pros. I love Jaquan going to Miami. I thought that was an amazing pickup for Miami because I think that Jaquan is a very good receiver, but he is so lethal on special teams. He's a special player and he makes special moments. I think I think that Jaquan going to Miami makes sense because you got a young kick punt returner. You can have him learn behind Braxton. You can have him Tyreek's done punt. Jalen Waddle's done punt. I think that they're both like he would be a sponge in this offense and he would just learn. And actually, a funny story for all the viewers at home is when that news broke on Twitter, and I saw that it went live on Twitter. I immediately FaceTimed him, and we were just talking. He's like, "Dude, you were the first person to call me." So, so yeah, I got the first phone call with Jay Burt after he got picked up by the Dolphins. I think Evan, the details of his contract came out. I think it's like a 250K contract, 250 to 280, something like that. I think that that's a big pickup for him. I think the 49ers are getting a steal. I thought that he was a low sixth round, early seventh round rated prospect, and I think that Evan's going to be able to do very well in San Fran.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. You asked who you think is gonna make the most out of it. Well, I think it's got to be Evan Anderson, the defensive tackle going to San Francisco. I think no disrespect to any of the other FAU prospects. I think Evan was the best out of the four. That's my honest opinion. And he went undrafted, but he got the most guaranteed money out of all undrafted free agents on the 49ers. And usually that means that they usually pay who they feel is most valuable in the undrafted free agent signing period the most money. But 250,000 is serious money for an undrafted free agent. I'm pretty sure that's around what Kader Kohu of the Miami Dolphins got when he went undrafted, and he ended up making the roster and starting week 1 for the Miami Dolphins. So FAU fans, that is something to look forward to. I definitely think he has a great chance of making the 53-man roster, and I'll absolutely be rooting for Jaquan Burton as well as the other guys. I can't wait to see Jaquan Hopefully, get to play in some of the preseason games. That'll be very exciting. I'll try to make it in person. One guy, Chaz Neal went to the New York Giants, and I tweeted it out. The New York Giants, they love their FAU Owls. You guys can chime in if you know any more, but I tweeted out just Devin Singletary this offseason, Chaz Neal this offseason, Zion Gilbert this offseason. I'm not sure of any more off the top of my head. There might be. But yeah, those three guys brought in the last 2 years. I think that's a cool little pipeline we have going right now.
Yeah, like Drew said, I think Chaz has a really good shot. I mean, the dude's a freaking monster. And if he can unlock that physicality and that potential at any level, it's going to be the highest level. So, I definitely don't know the FAU prospects nearly as well as, Christian, Drew, and Rob. I don't nearly know enough as much as you guys do, but I just think that size and physicality speaks, volumes.
Yeah, he's a big dude. The Giants' the offensive line's always changing. There's always stuff going on. So if there's a team out there that'll need an undrafted player, it'll probably be the Giants. But yeah, big ups for our FAU guys, and still rooting for J-Mo, like we said, rooting for the best for all these guys. Hope we see some more Owls in the pros very soon. But winding down here, just a couple minutes remaining on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network for tonight. Looking at the NBA scores, the Heat, they're going to be down 3-1. They're losing 97 to 82 minutes, 16 seconds to go in the fourth quarter to the C's. Heat currently plus 3,000 if you want to sprinkle and bet against the craziness. Halftime between the Thunder and the Pelicans. Thunder up 144-43. And Lakers Nuggets tipping off here in just a few minutes. Are the Heat cooked? I was so
Yes.
hopeful after that game two game where they had the barrage of 3-pointers, but in that game, on top of that, they were also able to limit Kristaps Porzingis 1-9 from the field, only 2 points. And when you limit a big guy like that just allows for struggles on the Celtics offensive end that shut them down completely. One complete facet of their offense was done for, and it helped the Heat really just bully their way in that second half, and obviously aided by that crazy barrage of 3-pointers, franchise playoff record. They just haven't been able to match that level of productivity in these past 2 games, and last game they didn't even have DeLon Wright, so it was. And then tonight, Patty Mills is playing in the first half. So it's like the Heat are just down bad injury-wise. And I just, at some point, they're going to have to go out this offseason and try to bring in some pieces because they didn't do that last year. And Caleb Martin most likely is gone this offseason unless the Heat go out and sign him. And then, he's their big free agent pickup. And I just don't know necessarily if he is somebody that they should be investing their money in, especially after letting go of Gabe Vincent, Max Strus last offseason. So a lot are going to be coming up here with Heat basketball over the next couple months. They got one more shot to try to extend it. They play better in Boston. They've lost now 6 straight playoff games at home, which is just abysmal. Don't go see them in the 305, I guess. But I don't know. I think the Heat may salvage one more, but they may be like the Lakers and just lose pretty easily, in my opinion. The Lakers, they stole one last night, but they're really not much of a threat to the Nuggets. The Nuggets just look much better, and it's the same thing right now with the Celtics over the Heat. And if the Heat were fully healthy, I mean, they're missing guys too, like Josh Richardson as well as out, Terry Rozier out alongside Jimmy. So it's not just Jimmy, but the Heat are really struggling, and I just don't think they got it in them.
Yeah, everything you said, they're done for. They could scrape together another one, but I mean, in all honesty, it's not really worth it. Let's just pack it up.
No, they're gonna.
Long road ahead for the Heat, man. Really long road ahead.
Yeah, no, the Heat are cooked. Yeah, like the only way that we can win is when you do something absolutely insane, and that's just nailing 3-pointers. But also, it always comes down to some random bozo on some random team decides to become prime Kobe when they play the Heat. And it's always some bald dude. It's always some bald dude that's tearing up the Heat. and it's
Yep.
so annoying. And Pat Riley, please, for the love of God, can we sign somebody? Kevin Durant's going to be gone. He's not going to be a Sun anymore. We've talked about it for years. Bring him. I don't care. Try to get Dame again. I don't care. Like, don't give up the Dame package because Duncan's awesome. Tyler Hero's spotty, but he's good. And Triple J, we can build around. Like, please do not get rid of Triple J. But yeah, we need to make a push for a superstar again because the whole developing Bam narrative. Bam is amazing, but he's limited. Jimmy Butler's hurt. Jimmy Butler's too injury prone at this stage of his career, and it's winding down. Jimmy's only got 2 to 3 years left in him, so he needs help. Build around him and stop letting our dudes walk and stop bringing in some Wish.com free agent, please.
Yeah, big offseason coming up for Miami. Pat Riley, Mickey Arison, they're both getting up there in their own right. Pat Riley, in my opinion, has probably only got a couple more years left. He may go until the heart stops ticking. That's just how Pat Riley operates. But at some point the shifting of the guard changes, right? Like you look at an analytically based team like the Thunder, they're having real success right now in a very new age front office over there. And nothing against Pat Riley, he's a GOAT in my opinion, been around basketball forever. But at some point it's passing of the guard. Look at college football, Nick Saban stepping away, all these old generation GOATs at some point just lose it. We'll see what happens with the Heat. Pat Riley definitely will give it one more go. But in my opinion, he's winding down as well. Thunder, they're up at the half by 1 right now. They're looking to close it out. They blew out the Pels in Game 3. Giddy Shy and Jalen Williams, they all put up 20 plus. Mark Dangwell was named Coach of the Year. All is going well in Oklahoma City. They're looking to close out tonight. I think that they're in my opinion, if I had to make a prediction right now, NBA Finals. That's a little out of the box. Give me the Thunder versus the Knicks. Would be absolutely electric in terms of quality of play. The Knicks right now are hot as anybody, and Jalen Brunson versus Shy is TV material for sure. Be rooting. I'll be rooting honestly for that matchup if the Heat get knocked out because it's just it's fun. They're both fun teams. I don't know. You guys like the Thunder? You think they got enough to run the table out of the West?
I mean, I love the Thunder. I think that team's so much fun to watch. And I admit I really wasn't high on them coming into the season. I actually said the complete opposite. They wouldn't be contenders, and I was dead wrong. So, I mean, I stopped giving NBA takes for that reason, but I'm going to give one more right now. I think that this is the Timberwolves tournament to lose. I think that they're far and away the best team in the playoffs right now, including the Boston Celtics. I think that Anthony Edwards is he's just insane. There's nothing else to really say about it. You don't sweep a Phoenix Suns teams in that dominant of a fashion and not be my finals favorite.
Yeah, I agree 100%. A little bit. I just don't know. I agree 100%. A little bit is kind of crazy, but I'm very confident in the Timberwolves as well. But I just think the Thunder have a little bit more behind them, it'll come down to whether Anthony Edwards' star power is more great than what the Thunder bring as a young core. And I also think that the Timberwolves big men, Cat and Rudy, could give Chet and company some trouble. So if that ends up the Western Conference Finals, we'll get your popcorn. But first, the Timberwolves are going to have to get past the Nuggets because that's who they're slated to play in round 2. So a lot going on with the NBA playoffs. We'll touch more on that tomorrow night. But we have flown through our hour tonight. A lot of NFL draft talk. It was a fun NFL draft. Good time of year. Tomorrow we'll get into more NBA with you guys. We'll touch on some FAU men's basketball recruiting and a whole lot more on Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our coverage today. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning with Pete Shepard at 7 a.m. Thank you guys again, and we will see you guys tomorrow night. Robbie Lastella for Toby, Christian, and Drew. Have a good night.